Today is February 5th, 2025. My name is Melissa Ackerman, and I will be interviewing Shirley Rovinsky for our Jewish Family Services Past Presidents Project. How are you today, Shirley?
Fine. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, glad to have you here. How did you get involved with JFS?
It's rather a unique story. I got involved with J&F through the JCC. I had been very active here, our family as well, my husband, and in 1974 I was voted Volunteer of the Year. It was an assumption that I would then be eligible to serve on the JCC board. However, my beloved husband Irv of blessed memory was going in as an officer, and the policy of the J was husband and wife could not serve together on the board. At that time, I was also very involved at Akiba Academy, where I worked with Bud Silverberg, a past president of JFS, and my dear friend Hannah Lambert of blessed memory, who was involved with JFS. And with all of us working together, I guess JFS got absorbed into my blood. And the next thing I knew, I was asked to be involved with JFS and then on their board. And ironically, years later, it turned out that as president of Jewish Family Service and Irv as president in 1980 of the JCC, we both served on the board of the Jewish Federation together.
And when did you serve? What year was that?
I was president from 1979 to 1981.
And what was your title during your tenure?
I was trying to think back, because it's 45 years at least, that I must have, I guess, been a board member and then a vice president. I can't remember exactly what I chaired. No,
some of the agencies have gone from the president model to chairman, just different names, but
I honestly don't remember.
Do you remember some of the various leaders during your tenure?
At Jewish Family
Service? Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, before me was Hannah, and before Hannah was Bud. I can't recall.
Okay. What were the partnerships between Jewish Family Service and other Jewish agencies at that time?
Okay, that's interesting. At the time, Jewish Family Service worked, of course, with all the agencies. We were also a United Way agency at that time, and I remember the first time I had to speak in front of the Community Foundation, the United Way. It was a little nervous because, of course, I knew the Jewish community well, but I did not know United Way. And now I understand, of course, things are much different. But we worked very closely, of course, with JFS, and we worked very closely with Jewish Vocational Services.
And what was Jewish Vocational Counseling Services? What was
Back
that?
then? Mm-hmm. I honestly don't remember. I know I was active in the campaigns. You want me to tell you about the community before I tell you more about JFS?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
Well, the community at the time, the Jewish population was about 22,000. There were, of course, national organizations, but nothing like it is today. The presidents all knew each other. We would meet once or twice a year just to get to know each other. There were no calendar conflicts. I would say the largest men's group and women's group and youth group at that time was the B'nai B'rith family. There were multiple B'nai B'rith men's chapters, multiple women's chapters, and multiple BBYO chapters as there are today. There, of course, was a lot of interaction between the organizations, and we all tried to do projects with JFS. I think that's all I can recall at this point.
How do you think the community has changed over the years?
Well, of course, now I understand we're close to 80,000, and organizations don't know each other. It would be nice if there was some way that we could meet on occasion. There are lots of calendar conflicts, but largely I think it's great. A lot of national organizations have established chapters here in Dallas, which I think is wonderful. And I would like to backtrack a little bit to JFS.
Sure.
At the time that I was president, my biggest challenge and the board's challenge was the resettlement of Russian Jews. There was a huge, huge influx. It was new to Dallas, it was new to family service, and it was new to our government. We resettled them, we found apartments for them and housing for them. Akiba Academy was the only day school at that time, and we encouraged as many of the Russian families to put their children in the day school, which we absorbed. I was on the board there as well, where we absorbed the cost. We hired teachers, and in maybe 81 or 82, I would say 10% of the enrollment were Russian students.
A lot.
Huge. We had translators, and we resettled them. And of course, many of them, of the families, settled in later years in Mesquite and other places, Arlington, and really kind of lost any Jewish connections. As a result of that, an interesting happening occurred. I was very good friends with Leo Loffer, of blessed memory, also an Akiba family, and Leo did not like what Jewish Family Service was doing. Leo was a Holocaust survivor. He had pretty much established himself on his own. He had a thriving sweater factory business here in Dallas, and he did not like the way we were integrating the Jewish-Russian population. And so he was our activist. Here he's my friend, and here he is putting flyers out at meetings of various organizations, telling them not to use Jewish Family Service. We don't know what we're doing, we're not finding jobs, and we eventually worked it out, but it was very difficult, particularly for me, because these are my friends. Our kids were in classes together. But I know what he went through influenced what he did. He probably didn't have the patience to see how the system worked. We were still friends.
You got through that?
We got through that. Both Jewish Family Service and Vocational Services were both located in the Federation Building. There is no more Jewish Vocational Service.
Was it folded into?
Yeah, they folded it into Family Service long after my tenure. But it was just very heartwarming to see these immigrants become integrated, and and we found families, and some of them are still connected, where families volunteered through Family Service, and we connected them with a Russian family, and some of them I still know, and they still thank us for what Jewish Family Service did.
That was a wonderful program. In addition to the Russian resettlement, what were some of the other programs that JFS was actively doing
Well, as
during
much
your
of what
term?
they did now. I mean, there was counseling, of course. We had a huge baby adoption program. It was incredible. It was one of the few agencies where you could even adopt a Jewish baby because they came to Jewish Family Service. I'm trying to think back. The food pantry, I think, has always been part of the agency.
JFS was located at the Federation office
I
when you
know
were
Vocational
serving?
Service was. And I don't think we had a building back then. I
I
really,
think so. No, I think the pantry was over
Yeah.
there. It was on
yeah.
a much smaller scale than it is now.
I don't know about the pantry, but the Federation wasn't like it is now. I mean, the staff was very small, and there was more room for family service and vocational service. Another challenge that we had at Jewish Family Service during my tenure was that we learned that we had no formal process for evaluating staff. And this was a special project that Howard Herskowitz of blessed memory and I were asked to chair. And that was not easy because Bernie Goldstein had been the executive director for years and years. And it wasn't that anything wasn't going correctly, but family service was growing. And when we as board members and officers met, we realized we don't have a process for evaluating staff. So Howard and I worked many an evening. I was finishing up my master's in social work and community organization at UTA in Arlington. Howard, of course, was working. So after dinner, he and I would get on the phone and we would talk until almost midnight, several nights a week. And as we talked, I was on the computer word processing our conversations. We took it to the task force. They took it to the committee. They took it to the board, and it finally got passed.
Wow.
That was one of the biggest challenges, and I just, I feel good about it because as I consider myself a professional volunteer community worker. That's an important process that every agency should have.
Absolutely. Who were some of the prominent community supporters of JFS during your time?
You know, well, they are the old timers. There were people like Aaron and Pearl Klausner, Marion and Henry Cohen. I'm just trying to think. Of course, the Rosenbergs. I worked with Ann and Marcus Rosenberg. And 45 years is a long time to try to remember back.
No, that's okay. Do you remember some of the key staff when you were involved? Was Bernie Goldstein the executive director?
Yes, he was the executive director.
Were there people coordinating volunteers at that point?
Oh, yeah. Yes, there were plenty of volunteers.
Was
I feel
Susea-
there always has been for that agency.
Was Susea involved with the
Susea was there.
volunteers?
Yeah, Susea was there. In fact, I think she was head of the volunteer. She was the volunteer coordinator, because I remember working with her. Another program that I do remember is our child therapy, which I know we still do, which is very, very important, and a lot of people don't know that.
Is it on a sliding scale for people that can't afford
yes,
to?
there's always been a sliding scale, always, 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 and I myself have referred quite a few people. I mean, like today, their program for abused women is incredible, absolutely outstanding and incredible.
How has the agency changed over the years?
It's grown, and I'm so proud that it's grown. The staff is going into new ventures like the new clinic that we have, and the facility. I was there, I believe, last year for a past president's breakfast, and got another tour, and it's just heartwarming to see what we've done in the community. It really is incredible. We have the support of the Federation and independent donors, and we have all these funds that have been set up for development, and it's just great.
Did JFS have to do their own fundraising at that point?
I think we all, I don't know any organization that hasn't had to do their own fundraising. I'm trying to remember if we had any big dinners. I don't recall anything like that back then.
Now,
Oh, yes.
all the
As I said,
agencies
every
have to.
organization has some sort of honoree or dinner or something.
Absolutely. What is something about JFS that may not be commonly known that you would like the community to know about? Well, you mentioned something about the
Yeah,
therapies.
they have a special way of integrating their volunteers. I know that people have volunteered there and have worked for many years. Several of my friends in the food pantry. A recent conversation was, "Oh, are you still volunteering there?" Yes, of course. I know that they, with the providing of services now to get clients to their appointments, which they did not have years ago. We didn't have a car, we didn't have a bus, or, not that we have a bus now, but we had used, some vehicles for transportation. I don't know if there's anything that the community doesn't know, of course, unless they haven't taken a visit to JFS. I'm very proud of the work the staff is doing and that's how the agency is growing.
And serving tremendous numbers of people
I know.
now. What are some of the things you're most proud related to JFS?
The fact that I had the ability, the opportunity to work with so many talented people. I became friends, new friends, and unfortunately so many of those friends are no longer living, but I guess in general I'm just proud of the agency. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to spend time there and to learn about it.
Are there any other things you'd like to share that I haven't asked
I want to
you?
thank you for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts, and I wish JFS everything for the past 75 years and for the future 75 years, and I thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.